Dr. Opperman, good morning and thank you very much for your time. Is what we are witnessing in and around our schools in terms of violence between pupils and sometimes between teachers and pupils a symptom of what our society is going through?
Most definitely, Dan, and I think it's also not only in South Africa, it's a worldwide phenomenon. In America, we have school shootings. In South Africa, I don't think there's so much access to guns necessarily for school children, and that's why it becomes a violent issue. But in South Africa, children often grew up without both parents present. We reckon the latest research shows that about 25%, that's 1 in 4 children growing up, have 2 parents at home with them. So it's hard then to be a single parent or to be a grandfather or grandmother taking care of your child, or an uncle or an aunt while you're trying to work. So the child grows up without basic empathy. We know a child develops empathy through when it's born, its mommy picks it up, it looks in its eyes, and it falls in love with this little baby. And without that empathy, we never develop empathy towards other people. So if there's a flaw in the nurturing and how we grew up and how we were brought up, it manifests in violence later on.
So the family is the nucleus of society, and therefore
Absolutely.
We need to focus in our families, in our homes, on the upbringing, the appropriate upbringing of children.
Yeah, and families should determine discipline. However, at the same time, our school system are failing our children. They're giving children way more power than what they deserve. It's been taken away from the powerful structures, and children, I think the balance of power has swung now way in towards children. So children have way too much power. Teachers complain on a daily basis how they've been disempowered. A lot of people are leaving the educational industry for that reason, because they feel they cannot control the children anymore because they've been disempowered. Teachers and educators don't have the power to put down laws for the children anymore. The children do what they want. They get away with it. Often they're putting through to other grades without deserving to go through. It's a huge problem in our society, and I'm scared that our educational authorities are rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Is it because there's a lack of understanding of children's rights and the responsibilities on the other? Because you can't have rights and not have responsibilities.
Dan, I think you've encapsulated the problem very, very succinctly there with what you've just asked. It's exactly that. You know, if you give people so much rights and there's no enforcing of the responsibilities that come with those rights, people get away with murder. There's no enforcement of laws. South Africa is quite a lawless society. We know that our murder rate is similar to that of countries at war with other countries, and it's just atrocious what's happening in this country, and I'm so sad, because at heart we're a good, kind society. Research shows that over 80% of people are prepared to non-violently live with other people, so it's a very small percentage that's tilting it. But unfortunately, if you're negative, you can undo a lot of positivity. Like if you burn down a school, for instance, it takes many years to build that school, and it takes a few minutes to burn down a school, for instance. So negativity, violence is so devastating, and it's unfortunately so powerful.
Now, there are initiatives and efforts and sometimes measures taken by, for example, the MEC for Education in Gauteng, Panyaza, Lesufi, saying that they've been able to identify those schools that could be seen as high risk in terms of violence, and they are working with law enforcement agencies and police to try and bring some safety in schools. The latest incident we're reporting on at Forest High School took place outside the school premises. Do you think some of the measures that the education authorities are taking are sufficient?
No, I don't think it is, because this is not a new thing. It's been happening for a few times, and every time there's a incident like this, the politicians rush there and get a lot of airplay, but nothing gets done, I believe, really about addressing the core issue. The core issue is our parenting system should improve. The core issue is our law enforcement should improve, and educators should be given more rights, that the deal is fairer. The core issue is children should know where they stand in society, and that their educators are higher in power to them, and therefore they've got to listen to what's being told. And children's needs should be taken care of in the schools, so they should employ much more psychologists and other caregivers into schooling systems.
So counselling is going to be very important. Thank you very much. Clinical and educational psychologist Dr. Ian Opperman giving us some of his views of what's going wrong in our society.